Every portable tire inflator box says 150 psi. The sticker on the inside of your car door says 35. That 115-pound gap between what's printed and what you actually need is where tire inflator marketing lives and dies. The number nobody puts on the front is CFM, how fast air actually flows into your tire, or duty cycle, how long the unit runs before it shuts itself off to protect its own motor. Those two numbers separate the tools that rescue you from the tools that overheat while you're still on the shoulder. We found 5 inflators that publish both, under-the-radar brands, prices from $28 to $89. And the one at number 1 has been doing this job quietly, without a marketing budget or a celebrity partnership, for 28 years. Most drivers buy their first inflator the day the TPMS warning light comes on, the tire pressure sensor on your dash telling you something's gone down. They open Amazon, they see 150 psi printed large, and they buy the number. Here's what the industry is counting on. Maximum PSI sounds like a performance number. It isn't. Every passenger tire in America runs between 32 and 51 psi depending on the vehicle. A unit rated for 70 psi and one rated for 150 will both reach 35 psi at identical speed. The number is the front of the box, nothing more. What isn't marketing is CFM. At 1 cubic foot per minute, a standard 215/55 R16 flat takes roughly 12 minutes to fill. At 2 CFM, 6. At midnight on a back road with your family in the car, that's the number that decides the night. Behind it is duty cycle. A 10-minute duty cycle means the unit shuts off after 10 minutes of continuous run, whether your tire is full or not. The brands that bury that number are the ones you find out about at the worst possible time. The 5 picks on this list put it in plain text, where it belongs. Max PSI tells you the ceiling. Duty cycle tells you if you'll reach it. Number 5. The EPAuto 12-volt DC portable air compressor, model P090D. The entry-level Goldmine most people scroll past because it doesn't look impressive. Most drivers reach for this because it's $28. What they get is a CE-certified unit built in 2015 by professional mechanics in Walnut, California. Not a rebadged overseas platform, but a design engineered from the motor out, with thermal cutoff protection that activates at exactly 167 degrees Fahrenheit. Published 1.06 CFM flow rate, digital auto shutoff calibrated to your preset PSI, universal Schrader valve connector, the same valve stem on virtually every passenger car and SUV on American roads, included in the box. Over a decade on Amazon with 55,000 plus reviews at 4.5 stars. That's 10 years of real-world data, not a launch window surge. The limits are honest and right there in the product description. 10-minute duty cycle, 70 psi ceiling, no truck or LT tires. Brands that bury those numbers are the ones you find out about at mile marker 47. EPAuto prints them in plain text on the listing page. For a Civic, an Accord, a Camry, or a RAV4, a full passenger car inflation cycle runs 3 to 4 minutes of that 10-minute window. The job gets done before the car behind you has slowed to look. Max PSI tells you the ceiling. EPAuto tells you exactly where it sits. Next, what happens when your battery is already part of the problem? Number 4. The Kensun AC/DC Digital Tire Inflator. The only pick in this price range built for when the car itself won't cooperate. Every 12-volt cigarette lighter inflator is constrained by your power port fuse, typically 10 to 15 amps. A weak or compromised battery makes that draw worse. Kensun engineers around it with 2 independent motors in one housing, one for 12-volt DC from your car outlet, one for 110-volt AC from a standard home wall socket. Either motor fills the tire on its own. No cordless battery to remember to charge. Whichever source is available at the moment the tire goes flat, the Kensun uses it. 120-watt solid metal motor on each side. Digital auto shutoff, around $35. The analog version carries a 5-year warranty, not a 1-year card with a registration requirement. 5 years. That's a manufacturer making a statement about what they expect the product to survive. Slime's standard 12-volt inflator runs from a single power source with no backup option at a comparable price. The Kensun doubles the power redundancy without adding a dollar. Any inflator fills a tire when everything's working. Not all of them work when the battery is already part of the problem. Next, what it looks like when a brand actually engineers the heat issue out instead of hoping you don't notice. Number 3. The AstroAI 150 psi AC/DC tire inflator with dual metal motors and OmniVent heat dissipation. The It Keeps Running Goldmine. The failure mode on most budget inflators is thermal throttling. Flow rate drops as the motor heats up, and the unit shuts off early, often before the tire is full. AstroAI built a specific engineering answer to this. OmniVent redesigns the heat path with axial flow fan blades and re-engineered internal air ducts, pushing continuous runtime to 15 minutes before a cooldown is needed, 5 minutes longer than comparable units at this price point. Real-world output: a 215/60R16 from flat to 36 psi in roughly 5 minutes. That's all 4 tires on a passenger car within a single duty cycle, back to back, without waiting for the compressor to rest. Dual power, 12-volt DC and 110-volt AC, at around $45. Against the Craftsman V20 cordless at $120 and up, the AstroAI trades cord-free mobility for superior thermal management at less than half the cost. Max PSI is always the promise. Engineering the heat out is how AstroAI keeps it. Next, the cordless pick that runs longer than every plugged-in unit we've covered. One thing before the top two. The DeWalt 20-volt Max and the Craftsman V20 aren't on this list, not because they underperform, but because they're not cheap. DeWalt starts at $149 before the battery, which is sold separately. Craftsman runs $120 and up. Both are solid tools if you're already in those ecosystems. This list is for the driver who wants the best performance their $90 or under can deliver, without locking into a platform. Every spec here was pulled from manufacturer data and verified against independent tests. No brand paid for placement. When that changes, you'll hear about it. A subscription helps. The list is the same either way. Number 2. The Fanttik X8 Apex, the cordless goldmine with a spec sheet that doesn't match the price tag. It runs on an internal 11.1-volt rechargeable battery. No cord, no clamps, no cigarette socket required. A full charge delivers 40 continuous minutes of operation, which outlasts the duty cycle on every plugged-in unit we've covered. Documented fill time: 56 seconds from 28 to 33 psi on a 215/55R17 tire. Pressure accuracy is plus or minus 1 psi at any elevation. Fanttik calls this altitude adaptive calibration, the feature that prevents the thin air misreadings that throw off most budget gauges on mountain highway runs. Every X8 Apex clears 65 separate factory tests before it ships. Battery safety, pressure accuracy, structural integrity to a 1.2-meter drop. The top of the unit carries a USB-A output port for emergency phone charging. Against the DeWalt 20-volt Max at $149 and up, the Fanttik fills a passenger car tire in the same time window for $90, and the DeWalt's battery and charger are sold separately for another $100. Max PSI is what they print on the box. Runtime and fill time are what you think about at midnight. Number 1. The VIAIR 88P, the professional pick hiding in plain sight for 28 years. VIAIR was founded in 1998. American-owned and operated continuously since. No acquisition by a holding company. No brand licensing arrangement. No quarterly earnings call forcing the motor spec down to protect margin. The 88P has been in continuous production for most of those 28 years, and that kind of longevity at the same price tier means one thing: the motor earns it, year after year, in real conditions. The numbers: 1.97 CFM at 0 psi, per product documentation, nearly double every other unit on this list. Duty cycle: 25 minutes at 30 psi, the longest here by 10 full minutes. Maximum working pressure: 120 psi, covering tires up to 33 inches in diameter. It fills a 225/60R18 from 20 to 30 psi in 50 seconds on a direct drive motor with no gear mechanism to wear down over time. Verified operating range: -4 degrees Fahrenheit to 158. That covers a Minnesota January and a Phoenix August without a second thought. 16-foot air hose, brass twist-on chuck. Here's what these 5 have in common. Not a feature, a principle. They publish the duty cycle. That's the tell. The brands that put it in a footnote are selling the feeling of preparation. These 5 are selling the capability. A meaningful difference, as anyone who has stood on a wet shoulder at midnight with an inflator that quit after 8 minutes can tell you. Before you trust any inflator, ask one question first: what's the duty cycle, and is it longer than the job you're asking it to do? If that number isn't on the box, assume 10 minutes and plan your kit accordingly. Team EPAuto, Team Fanttik, or Team VIAIR for your glove box. Tell me in the comments, and if you think the order is wrong, make the case. Max PSI tells you the ceiling. Duty cycle tells you if you'll reach it.